Somebody just sent me this too. Hold on, what's this? I saw the description of it. Okay, what do you know what's worse than my Tahoe payment? Hold on.
I want to know what is worse than my Tahoe payment. You guys thought that was bad. Wait till you hear this one. It's my husband's truck. My husband drives a 2020 GMC AT4 Sierra 1500. We bought it in August of 2022.
Okay.
Financed it for $78,000. He still has a remaining balance of, I think it's $72,000 or $74,000.
Hold on. That doesn't make sense. You've had it for like a year and a half, 2 years, and you've only paid down $2,000 in principal.
I haven't really checked recently.
Thank you, Astro, for the one. Thank you. Appreciate you.
His payments are $1,600 a month. So y'all thought my $1,400 Tahoe payment was bad. His truck payment is $1,600 a month with an APR of 14%.
I didn't know you could get a car payment at 14% in the United States. What? Remember what I was saying when I was like, yeah, some people just make like, they get a little bit of money and they burn it all on stuff they don't need. I guarantee you don't need a $1,600 a month truck payment. You don't. Go get a clunker, go get a truck. Hell, go buy a Cybertruck through like their official financing and it'll be like 5 or 6%. But I'm guessing the reason it's 14% is because they probably have bad credit, or they probably honestly, usually this is the kind of scummy thing about how APRs work. Usually the less qualified you are, so in other words, the less capable of paying this you are, the higher the rate is and the more this number gets increased. So it's weird. We're like, the more you could afford a high car payment or a high mortgage or whatever, the more you could afford it, the lower it will be. Whereas the less you can afford it, the higher it'll be. It's stupid, but it's basically built around risk tolerance and things like that. Because when a couple has $3,000 in monthly car payments for cars, let's be honest, they don't need, that's crazy. You can, like, if you can afford a $1,600 a month car payment, you're not going to be paying 14%. You're going to be paying like 4% through a private or like a credit union or something. And this is going to be for like a $200,000 car. This is insane. This is insane. Hell no, dude. My fiance got a 20% rate. Okay, Evelyn, you need to take your fiance somewhere and get that done. That's shut that down, man. That's crazy. 20%. This is the problem. Like a lot of people, they don't, like, they're just financially illiterate because they've never been trained. They've never been taught. So they see 14%. Like, I don't know if that's good. It reminds me of the Parks and Rec thing where Andy Dwyer gets the new motorcycle and he goes up to the camera. He's like, yeah, it's a pretty cool bike. It's pretty awesome. You know, it's brand new bells and whistles. I got all the extended warranties and I got the really good interest rate. I got like 28%. It's like the highest they were able to give me. Pretty good. Because he just had no idea. He thought high interest was good. And in that case, that's a comedian trying to be funny. This is real life.
So yeah, y'all stop coming after me for my bad finance decisions and go after him, because
this is a very bad way of justifying stupid decisions. Like it's literally just being like, well, but he also screwed it up. What's the name of that fallacy? It's the tu quoque. Is that what it is? If me, then you. Yeah, it's just like, well, yeah, this is bad. This is wrong. But this other person did it wrong too. So therefore it's okay. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
he fucked up too. Too bad he didn't buy his truck for him. I did. So yeah.
Wait. Oh God. Okay, just listen to that back.
And go after him.
Stop coming after me.
Bad finance decisions and go after him because he fucked up too. Too bad he didn't buy his truck for him. I did. So yeah, I messed them both up. Oops. So maybe we should just let his truck get repossessed and keep the Tahoe, because a $1,400 Tahoe payment is a whole lot better than a $1,600 truck payment. Or maybe we should just let them both go back because we have the Audi now and don't need either of the car payments.
They got a third car. I'm actually very tempted after that, the reference to the the repo. I'm convinced that's probably just rage bait. I think she's probably lying about all that. That's my guess, because typically people who make really bad financial decisions with cars, they are in complete denial at the prospect of it getting repoed. I've told the story before of like a guy I knew back in college, and he had like one of those Subarus that was always decked out. I forget what they're called, but it's one of those Subarus that people tend to put like the custom fender on, the custom like wing on the back, and they do all this like crazy customization stuff. And he had all of that stuff done on it. And he came, like we were doing a play together. We were both cast members in it. And one day he just was late to rehearsal, which was weird because he was always like one of the first people there. And he was like an hour or two late. And he comes in, and he's like, sorry, I had to take the bus or whatever he said. And we're like, why? Did something happen with your car? Did it break down? You could have just called us for a ride. And he's like, no. And he's like very awkward about it. Didn't want to talk about it. But finally he tells us after a while, yeah, my car got repossessed. Like, how the hell did that happen? He's like, yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. I only missed like 3 or 4 payments, and then they just took my car in the middle of the night. I was like, okay, hold on. You missed 3 or 4 payments over 3 or 4 months, which, let's be honest, probably means like 5 to 6 payments over 6 months. I was like, I don't have much sympathy for you. Like, you couldn't pay your car payment, you don't get your car. It's pretty simple. Like, it's not that complicated. But wow. So in my experience, people who make really stupid decisions with their cars usually are in full denial that they could have it repossessed. Like, no, they can't just take it away. I'll just miss some payments, I'll get back on it. Because they're kind of used to the credit card way of doing things, where it's like, oh, I have a credit card balance, it's super high, and I've missed some payments, so it's a bummer, but the balance just goes up. I'll pay it off later in the year, or when I get my tax refund or whatever, which never happens, but still they say it. And so usually they're just in denial over it. But the fact that she's like openly discussing how that's going to happen, like, I'm starting to think that that's just rage bait. I'd like to think nobody's that stupid, but if she actually is so stupid that not only did she get a 14% or a $1,400 car payment for herself, and then tries to go and get a freaking $1,600 a month truck payment as a gift to her hubby, that's insane. People are that stupid. I mean, if she is so deluded and so arrogant in her stupidity that she's bragging about, like, yeah, I guess we'll just get it repoed. It's like, okay, well, that's why you have a 14% interest rate, because you have terrible credit, most likely, because you're so willing to just have things repossessed. It's wild. To be fair, my fiance's rate may be 20%, but at least the payment is only like $400. So it's probably like an older car or a cheaper car for a $78,000 truck, which, what was the name of the truck that she said? So it's at like $42,000. He still has a $72,000 balance on it. Fair purchase price is $44,000. So they're like $30,000 in the hole. My brother-in-law just bought this exact truck. Really? That's funny. Like, I have a friend that will remain unnamed, but this has been a point of contention where I know people who like tie masculinity into their truck or into the car they drive. So like, they don't feel like a man until they drive a truck. And if they're not driving a truck, they feel like they don't have any masculinity. It's really, really weird. Because like, even in instances where these people will be driving or will be working a job where they don't need a truck, they just like are working an office job, they could go drive to work in a little sedan, a little Honda Civic from 2005, and they'd be perfectly fine. But instead, they go and drive a $70,000 pickup because they like the way it makes them feel. You know, it's ridiculous. Because I'm like, it's one thing if you can afford the car. Like, if you're making $200,000 a year, you can afford $1,000 a month car payment. I still think that that's a lot to pay for a car payment, unless you have like a really, really low interest rate and it's a reliable like luxury car that's going to resell for a lot. But still, if you can afford $1,000 a month car payment, great. More power to you. Like, if XQC wants to buy a McLaren, he can afford a McLaren. Okay. He doesn't need one, but he can afford it. So whatever, it's his money. But when you are getting a 14% interest rate or a 20% interest rate, it probably means that you can't afford whatever you're looking at. It probably means that that's their way of tolerating the risk of your lower income, and they're just going to end up taking advantage of you, unfortunately.
He took my thing.